Before we get going with this week's podcast, I just want to take the time to thank our sponsor, which is Kernow Valeting and Detailing. Obviously, they clean cars, and if you go and look at their Facebook page, there's so many pictures and videos of different cars that they've cleaned and vans and trucks and all sorts of things. I mean, they had this stunning Porsche last week, which is just been... I was looking at the picture and I just thought, wow, they've done such a great job with this. And that there had a ceramic coating put on it, which I think is around sort of like, it's a few £100, but in the end it's something that lasts for a really long time, keeps your car clean and makes it easier to keep clean. If you contact them and you like what they're doing, then you can quote Kernow and you can get £10 off your next clay bar treatment. So yeah, that's Kernow Valeting and Detailing, and I urge you all to go and check them out. Thank you very much for listening. Welcome to the Kernow Cast. This is episode 22, and my guest today is a chap called Martin Miller, who actually has come on the podcast at the most perfect of times for me, and you'll find out the reasons why through the show. This is probably one of my favourite podcasts that I've done. I really enjoyed talking to him, and even though he came second in the list of asking to be on the show, it was probably a good thing, because if he was a week earlier, then it wouldn't have been as good timing as what it was. So yeah, it was brilliant. He's straight talking, straight to the point, high energy. He's really disciplined in his approach to what he's doing. He's a business and sales coach. Well, that's what he says. I think he's more of a sort of life coach. He sort of, from the impression I got from him, was that he really tries to get to the core of what is going on in your life, so that you can, in a step-by-step process, improve on those things and hopefully improve your business life and also your home life. That's the impression I got from him, and he's got a really great story, and I thoroughly enjoyed the conversation I had with him. You can find him on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube. He said he's going to be starting up a vlog, which is going to be pretty exciting, I think, which I've just started a vlog as well, so go and check that one out on YouTube. And he's also going to be launching a website soon, so hopefully if you start following him, then you'll see when his website's ready. This week's music is by a band that's quite close to my heart. I feel like I've been with them from the beginning in some ways, worming across the front of the stage back at the I can't remember which pub it was, all sorts of pubs around Bodmin, Gin House, the other one by the Chicken House, I can't remember what it was called back then, but down there. This track is called El Diablo, which was also featured in my very first vlog. So yeah, trying to fly the flag for citations. You can find them on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and they have a tick on Spotify, so you can't miss them. Also, one last thing, this episode was recorded at the Royal Inn in Parr, which is bang opposite the train station. So yeah, if you're heading out that sort of way, then you can't really miss it. It's a great little pub. Yeah, it was great, and thanks to them for letting us record there. So without much further to say for now, I'll leave you with Citations and their track El Diablo, and then on the other side of that, Martin Miller. Cheers.
himself out the gutter. He's got the milk but lacks the bread for his butter. Shifting the focus from everything he's not got. Why get a job when you can make it with a laptop? Don't sit down, don't sit down, don't sit down. Transformation, fixation and habit. Become a god no matter what the cost. Can it funny is so far away, goddammit. Empty and blow, tell me what is the cost. This playing field has been leveled.
Welcome to the Kernow cast. This week my guest is Martin Miller, and you have started up a business called Over the Edge.
Yeah, hi Lewis, good evening.
Hello, how are you?
Really good, yeah, really good.
Brilliant. I just wanted to start actually with a recommendation from your LinkedIn page, just to give people a bit of context into sort of...
This is the point I realised that you've been looking all over my stuff, isn't it? But I did actually say to you as well, no, that's okay.
Yeah, only briefly. So it reads, Martin is an enthusiastic and infectious character. He speaks his mind and knows how to get the best from the people he is working with. He leads by example and can make a real difference. I would without question be more than happy to recommend him. And obviously that was off your LinkedIn page. I can't actually remember who
It was a chap called Nick Taylor.
Yeah.
That I know in the Plymouth business community. Really cool guy. Yeah.
Brilliant. So hopefully I haven't set the bar too high for you.
I've got a bit to live up to there, haven't I, as well?
But, from that then, so what is sort of Over the Edge, and tell me a little bit about what you're doing.
Right, okay. Well, if I would say that a little bit of backstory. A couple of years ago, just over a couple of years ago, I took on a sales training franchise called The Reluctant Salesman, and I'd decided that my personal circumstances changed, and I decided that I wanted to kind of everything that I'd learned up to this point I wanted to pass on to people. But I didn't have training packages, I didn't have any IP at all, and it was one of those fortuitous conversations, and I had a chat with the founder of the franchise, and he said, "What are you about?" I said, "People, all about people, how to get the best from them and how to get the best for them." So I took on this sales training transfers, and it got me into the marketplace, and really, really good. And I extensively networked throughout kind of North Cornwall and Plymouth, because that was my area. And then what I realised as I was doing the training was that there was an element of me that was coming out, which as I'm smiling, it was basically being very straight and very direct, and about focusing on the action. This then tied up, as I was beginning to develop my own style of coaching, with a conversation that I had with a friend. It was in 2017 about skydiving.
Right.
Okay, wow. I know, a really random one. Okay, and
a brave one too.
Interesting. I'll let you know when I've landed.
Yeah.
And what it came about was actually from a lovely lady called Vicky from Gloss Media, and she explained to me about the feeling of when she had to do an abseil off the Maritime Museum in Falmouth, and he says that point that when you go over the edge, you have to have faith. Okay, you've got everything prepared beforehand. I then said to her about I'd love to skydive around the world, and it combined with a kind of a coaching idea, and from that we started to develop my over the edge kind of coaching models of individual coaching, team coaching performance, and also we're going to be looking at gender equality in time as well, because I believe there's a real need for bringing that to businesses to kind of encapsulate the best parts of men and women working together.
Wow.
But also what happens is at the beginning of June this year I'm taking my skydiving licence, and I decided I've got quite a significant birthday. I might allude to I'm going to have to get this out of the way. I've got my 50th birthday coming up soon, and it was either motorbikes, a midlife crisis, a sports car, so I thought, well, I'll do skydiving. But the reason why specifically is there are so many processes to skydiving that are so similar to business.
Right.
Essentially doing the research, planning for success, planning for failure, everything that you need to do, that support network of people you need to go around you. So the Over the Edge project is a kind of a brand and a way of being, which is I need to lead by example as a coach, and I can't ask you to do something if I'm not prepared to do it myself.
Right, wow.
And I think what can I do that most people would comprehend is just really out there. just throw myself out of the plane.
Yeah, right.
You know, and it sounds a little bit kind of, but there is a lot to get to that point, and it's developing. Website's about to go up, and we're doing some promotional videos. Hence why I met you, and I said, right, look, we just need to get it out there.
Yeah.
That's the short version. There you go.
Brilliant. That sounds obviously really interesting. I mean, I've got so many questions. I don't even know which one to start with.
Start with number one.
Yeah. So. Take me back, take me back to the beginning then. I know we've kind of already gone through it, but
right.
You started with this reluctant salesman thing.
Yeah. And I still operate that,
right?
And I do, but it's very sales specific,
right?
And fundamentally, what I was bringing to kind of the business community was reminding people that sales is just a process. A lot of people get caught up on, they believe they have to be a certain way, hence the way why they're quite reluctant.
Yeah.
And the founder and a brilliant brainchild behind the Reluctant Salesman is a man called Terry Mullins. And what he realised is that by smashing the kind of the stereotypical image of selling, actually getting people to adopt it in their processes, to make it something that you're not attached to the outcome. Okay, you just follow the process. And I used to be in sales heavily, and I had my ratios which were generally, and people could say, oh, they could be higher, they could be lower, but it's what worked for me. If I meet 10 people, I can have 2 or 3 meaningful conversations, and I would normally get 1 sale from that, 1 or 2 sales. So I know my ratios of that. So I would just continue the numbers, but I wouldn't get attached to the outcome. I just know that if I inform you, this is my service, this is my offering, if it's good for you, cool. If it's not, that's okay.
Yeah.
Because you might not be my customer. And so Terry's model of the Reluctant Salesman was awesome, because it was pretty much about taking your market's product without trying to shoehorn people into a decision. Right. Because you know what it's like. If someone's not happy, they'll just walk with their feet and they'll show you. So the over the edge is me developing on from that is my own particular brand and my own kind of style of coaching, because what I found is that people liked my honest, direct, straight approach, and it came from me having to reevaluate my life a couple of years ago after a long-standing relationship. You know, that kind of broke down, and I had to move out of the family home, so I had to look at myself, and I believe that a lot of our change comes if we can ask ourselves really honest and direct questions. They're not that comfortable to ask at times, but also I started to implement that into my training, and what I found was people really resonated with that. You know, because I believe there's a lot of veneers, there's a lot of filters around, there's a lot of BS. Yeah, I'm going to keep my swearing down to a minimum, right. And me being me and bringing my heart and soul to the trainings really resonate with people. And this whole thing about is me. There is an element of craziness within me. Okay, I believe there is in everyone, and even if the quietest person is sat down listening to, we know there's an element of crazy in you too as well. It's just finding that thing. So it's kind of a development, and it's just how things expand. But what I've listened to is people around me, because it sometimes takes other people to point out what we don't notice about ourselves, how we communicate with someone, the value that we bring to a situation. And I've really taken some good advice from some really sound people over the last couple of years. And also, you know what it's like, you think you can have the best products in the world, but if the market doesn't want to buy your stuff, you're like a dead duck in the water, aren't you? That's right. Sorry to all the ducks floating around. Does that answer the question a little bit?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, still so many more questions.
Keep going.
What was you sort of explained the process of morphing it into this thing for yourself. I mean, so it was sales specific that you started with, and now you've moved more into sort of the coaching side of things.
Yeah, I mean, essentially what it was because I didn't. I was involved with sales before I took over the sales training franchise, and I was in commercial energy sales, and I've been doing that, and it was okay, and it was cool, and I built it on relationships, because I all believe relationships. You know, I'm Cornish, I'm from the county, and I believe that you always have to think about the long game. It's not about can I make a quick buck out of you, it's how can I bring value to you, and how can I help your extended network. That's always been my principle. I'm not saying I've always got it right, and if anyone says they get everything right all the time, they're lying. Okay, but it's about going, okay, what do I want to bring to people? But when I wanted to go into kind of the sales training and the coaching, I didn't have material, I didn't have course, people didn't know me within that realm, so therefore I bolted myself to a product that I know is proven. Right. And it was really, and I went out with my toolkit of the Reluctant Salesman sales training courses. But I found there was there's a certain fit for it,
Right.
and it resonated with some people and it not resonated with others. But what I found, my way of delivering it resonated with quite a few people and virtually everyone I was in front of.
Right.
So for the combination of my own personal interest in doing something madcap with skydiving, the fortuitous conversation with another person saying you could link this up with your own branding, your own kind of, and it's just kind of gone on from there. And I've asked people for critique, hence on my LinkedIn, what do you think I bring to the situation?
Yeah.
And it is about going to vet those people. So sales, if people bring me in for specific sales training, I will still do the reluctant salesman sales training models because I know they work.
Yeah.
But if it's above and beyond that, it's developing my own brand.
Brilliant.
And it will be one-to-one, but it will be very, very much, I take people on a journey.
Yeah.
And one that I've been on myself many times. And also knowing when I shouldn't work with some people, because we need to understand in the marketplace not everyone's our customer or everyone's our client, but also if there's something I don't know, I will refer them to other people. I'm a very straight up coach, and it comes from just life in general. I'm a parent, so that's the best test in the world. You're a parent, aren't you?
I am, yeah.
It's a tough gig.
Yeah,
Okay.
it is.
And you learn more about yourself being a parent, I think, than anything as well.
Yeah.
Okay. So does that kind of explain that? a
Yeah,
little bit?
definitely. I mean, it's very interesting. So, just to sort of summarise that, you found by going down this salesman route, people weren't necessarily buying the product that you were trying to sell, but they really resonated with what you were delivering. And then you thought, I could change this up.
Yeah, and it's kind of fortuitous, just with
That's
different
wow.
conversations
Yeah.
and listening. And that's what I said to you. Is sometimes when someone says to you, "You're really good in this," you go, "Oh, am I?" But that's just how I am.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you don't realise how that fits in. That's why you're doing. We talked about beforehand about why you were doing what you're doing, because this just really resonates with how you want to get yourself into the marketplace.
Yeah.
And when you find something that fits for you, it's the line of truth as far as I'm concerned.
You're forging your own path.
Definitely so, and it is, and it comes from the heart. I go into some of my trainings now. I don't know what's going to come out of my mouth, and I don't mean that because I never go in with it, and some of the people I'm working with don't. But the point being is, I don't go in with any assumption or any agenda. There's points I want to cover off, and there's things that I know that I can bring to the situation. But I'm never trying to get someone else to fit my agenda. It's about them, and it's about where they are. But until I understand and pull back the layers of someone's life and their personality and their responsibilities and their concerns and the things that are stressing them out in their home life, their business life, I can't begin to work with them.
Right.
This is why I create a safe space and a really comfortable space for people to go, what do you want to do? Why are you doing what you're doing? Does it make you happy? Some people call me an idealist, but I just say that's why we're here for. We've got a heartbeat. We're all about people, and I think there's a lot of people. There's a lot of repressed talent within people that just they need that space to just a safe space.
Yeah.
And that's really key to me as well.
And some confidence to explore that, I think.
Massively so as well.
I think
because you never know what you're going to find, do you?
No, that's right. I mean, it's sometimes. I've felt it before myself, where you think, why am I doing this? I mean, exactly why I've ended up doing this in the first place. I felt, a bit trapped in what I was doing. I was like, I'm just doing this for the sake of it. I just thought I'm just going to dive in and go for it, and a lot of people I think are reluctant to go and do that, aren't they? And so really, I mean, it sounds like you go really deep with these people and you really get to the core of what
it is to be
drives
human.
them. Yeah,
because and that's the point. Is because and I know darn well from being in a life where I was in a very long-term relationship, and it was really, really cool. And I've got a great lot of respect for Rebecca, who's the mother of my children, and we've worked through separating our home life and our business life and being together for over 2 decades. Because we're interested in our children and our people and as individuals and how we can set a really good example to them.
Yeah.
And I believe that if you operate with integrity, okay, and there's a line of truth, as I said, that you follow, then you can't deviate from that. Okay, I'm doing this because I know it's the good thing for you.
Yeah.
Okay, it's a good thing for myself and my kids, for the people around me. And there are so many veneers around, there are so many layers on things and filters and stuff, and I must admit I've used a couple of filters and photographs that I post recently. I just to make myself look a little bit better on that day. But generally, most people, there's so many layers that are afraid to reveal that in a person. But once you get to the core of the person, then you can really facilitate transformational change to the point that they realise their true potential. But I think a lot of people have given up. I mean, there's a phrase I heard years ago which was, some people die at 25, but they just wait around 75, 85 for their bodies to die because they kind of give up. Okay, and so if I can offer a glimmer of hope to one person that's listening to this, then that makes me feel good. Don't get us wrong. People say we do things to help other people. It makes us feel good. Okay, it's why we're here, to help another human being. Hopefully, you'll take some lessons from today, our chat, and go, do you know what? I'm going to implement that, and I'll pass on a few little tips that people can do as takeaways. But you've got to go to a deep level to really get change, but not in a way. I try to change people's states. Right. Sometimes by my language, sometimes it shocks them, but I get them out of their mould, because most people are kind of going along, and this isn't a judgment call, this is just observation from people. I'm fascinated by people. They're on a conveyor belt, and because of responsibilities they feel they can't step off. But do you know what, sometimes you have to take that leap of faith, you have to go over the edge, okay, and you do have to take that. Don't wait for the perfect plan. But it depends on the people around you, your support network, your circumstances. There are so many factors, but until you can sit down with someone and kind of they know you can trust you, they're a little bit reserved, because everyone's got to be seen to be doing okay. Social platforms are a prime example of that. There's some moaners and some gripers, but generally people are showing their Hollywood lifestyle, aren't they? And we all know darn well, especially all the parents listening to this, it's not like that.
No.
You know?
No, that's right. Everyone trying to tell their perfect story.
It's not how it is.
And it's no one's got a perfect story, I don't think.
No, not at all.
And brilliant. So I just want to sort of go more into sort of the business of what you're doing. So do you work primarily with individuals, or do you work a lot with business, a bit of both? Yeah.
Combination. Business owners, the teams, sales managers. It can be people front of house. I've worked with a variety of businesses, and someone asked me what do I do. I said people, process, habits, and outcomes. But equally, if I work with a team of people, I will let the business owners know that if I find out things from, I need to feed it back up the chain of governance. Right. And I had one guy say to me once, I've got an open door policy, and I, without even thinking about it, read that's the right or wrong thing to do. I said, but it's funny that no one walks through that open door. Okay, so you can say one thing, but your actions of your staff might be completely counter, because you think, you come and talk to me about anything, but if everything about you, your language, your being, how you are, how you might talk down to your staff members, or not saying that people do, but some do, okay, your staff aren't going to come to you. They're not going to. And I try to bring out those, and there's another one on my LinkedIn recommendations, which basically said that I hosted some of the most uncomfortable conversations with a no BS approach, but not leaving people flat on the floor, because most people just would like to be heard. And to feel valued. So in answer to the question, business owners, solopreneurs, teams, people managing, middle management's quite difficult. Because you've got the above and you've got the below, and you're sandwiched in between. But I have the ability to bring teams together and make them, encourage them, let's just say, rather than look at it from another point of view, from someone else's perspective. Come round to the side of the business owner. Do you realise the stresses and strains and things they're going home with at the end of the day? And then also come round from the employer to the employee. Their concerns are, is their job going to be there? Is the company making trim backs that they don't even know about? All these concerns, us as human beings, as providers, and as husbands and wives, as girlfriends, as partners, as sons and daughters, just want to know. I believe if there was more transparency in businesses, we would have happier workforces. And there's a phrase that I use, and I don't know where it came from. It's not my, but if I could give credit to it, that if you look after the people, the profit will come. If you focus on the profit, you kill the people. Not literally kill. I don't want to work for someone who literally killed my staff. But the point being is, look after the people, your profit will come. But a lot of companies have it the other way around. And I understand there's different dynamics in all companies, but that's the essence of what I say. If you want me to come in, I will work with your people, and your people will be happier, they'll be more contented, and also realising, have you got the right people in the right seats? That's a really key part.
Have you found that sort of like through, when you've been working with these businesses, have you found that a lot of people have ended up either maybe like leaving or changing their job roles and stuff, and everything sort of like mixes up?
Because I'm unable to ask those honest questions, because if I can see, I study people, and if I can see that someone genuinely isn't happy, it can be as a simple question, are you happy in your job? And all I really have to do is leave that silence there, let that question hang on the table, watch the person, allow them some space, and 9 times out of 10 they'll give me an indication that they're either are or there's some aspect of their work they're not,
Yeah.
which I can then address when they speak to me, because I'm very tactful and discretionary in the way I feed it back up to employees. Sometimes I presented questions to people that I've worked with, and they were amazed. How did you get these questions out? Well, I'm an outside person coming in, which can be a little bit difficult at times, but then I just tend to blend in. I've got a sense of humour. I want people just to be them as themselves. I make a joke of myself. I'll be really honest in my trainings, and I just want to elicit those information. Normally, those conversations that people take in homes, their husbands, their wives, their partners, their mates in the pubs, their girls when they go out and they go out for an evening, and they'll say all these things, but they don't say it to their employers, or they don't say it to their bosses.
Yeah, the conversation doesn't happen in house.
No, so I facilitate conversation. And conversation, decent coaching can come from open conversations.
Yes, and it sounds like the way that you kind of can feed it back to make the people at the bottom feel like they can speak to you and
valued.
and speak to the people at the top is by you're not only coaching the people at the bottom, you're coaching the top as well, and you're approaching them both in the same sort of way, and by not having them directly speaking to their managers. And
I facilitate conversations, but also as well I know various coaches and people have called me various things, polite hopefully, but the point being is I'm pretty much roll my sleeves up and get in there. Okay, I want to sit down. I'll do when I go into a business. I'll do a standard outcome form to measure where we are. And if I came and see you, I go, right, Lewis, tell me about yourself. I'll sit back, sip a coffee, have a chat, very, very casual. Tell me, what's your family life like? And just get you to just open up a little bit.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, this is really groundbreaking for a lot of people, because no one ever asked them, are they happy at work? They just presumed and assumed that they are because we pay you.
Yeah.
There's a lot more to it than that. So and it is then coming away, and I do quite a bit of driving around, so I process a lot of the information during the day, and then I'll come back and I go, okay, perhaps we need to look at this, or we need to look at this, or the certain aspects, and actually something's going on in their personal life. I clearly don't want to delve into someone's personal life, very discretionary, but that's why their mindset isn't right when they come into work, because me, it's mindset. If something's tripping them up in their personal life, it sure as damn is going to show up in their work. And the boss could just be going, why aren't they being efficient? Whoa, you don't know what's going on in their life. Give them a little bit of time. And that's where that comes to the open door policy of allow people time, because sometimes they just need to offload. The majority of people's lives are jam-packed with expectations, stresses, where they feel they should be in life. Am I doing a good job? Am I a great partner? Am I just doing all the stuff I'm supposed to do? It's a pressured world that we live in as well. And people need, I suppose, excuse me, the lemonade opinion. I suppose I'm a little bit like a kind of a pressure release valve. It's just knowing when to ease it.
By asking those questions and getting people to actually and answer those questions, just being able to talk about these things can release these things. If you bottle stuff up all the time, it's just you've got no way to release these feelings.
You clearly can't see me, people, but I'm giving a really big nod to Lewis as he said that, because it's allowing people to let it out. And sometimes things don't even need to be acted on, they just need to be heard. But yeah, definitely.
Awesome. It sounds cool. I mean,
you can see why I'm so fascinated about it and why I do it as well. I love it.
Definitely. I mean, so let's sort of go into this skydiving thing then. I want to dive into that.
Right. I mean, okay. So how many puns can we get in the skydiving as well? Right.
Yeah. Right.
Let's just let's pull the cord on that one. Right, okay. Okay. No reserves here at all. Right, okay. It comes from what I've realised is an element of me. I love adrenaline, and when I was younger, motorbikes. I was into motorbikes. But the reality is, if I put myself on a motorbike now on the road, I would probably kill myself. Okay, because there's a lot more metal objects going around the road than there was 20 years ago when I was on a bike. So I kind of did have this conversation. Again, it's one of those conversations that I've done 2 tandem jumps, and I absolutely loved them. And one was 2 years ago, and I forgot how much I've done. I'd done them like it was 9 or 10 years apart. But I actually loved them, and there was no feeling like it. Okay, you're technically falling through, but it felt like you're flying through the air. And I just got reminded of that feeling. So I went, okay. So I remember even a guy the age that I'm at, I went to my mum and said, right, I'm about to do one of 2 things. Riding motorbikes or jumping out of a plane. Which one would you prefer? And I went, statistically, jumping out of a plane is safer. you've given us a no decision. We can't really win here, can we? I went, you know, I'm a little bit like that. So there's an element of me that will do stuff to challenge, but also I did consciously set it as, what could I possibly do? So if I'm in a training and I'm asking someone to make a sales call, or if I'm asking them to improve a process, or if I'm asking them to ask an awkward question of one of their members of staff, they know that I've led from the front, because I can go around and go, do you know what I did? I had an idea. 12 months later, I'm jumping out of a plane. What did I have to do to get to that process? Was I really nervous? Absolutely. What's the worst that could happen? I could not be having a conversation with you in 6 months' time if I don't get it right. My life is on the line, okay? So it gives this sense of mortality. And I had a few bereavements over the years, people that have taken their own lives, people that have died suddenly, various things, and I have a real understanding of appreciating life. It's a cliche, we don't get a second chance. It depends what your beliefs are and, you know, reincarnation, all these things. But the fact is that we're here now. Today is the most important day in our life. Yesterday's happened. A lot of people get stuck so much in yesterday. I understand that certain things. Tomorrow is speculative because it hasn't happened. So therefore, it actually ties up with most of my wants and needs and desires to do something that's filled with adrenaline. Another thing in skydiving, you have to be so in the moment. You really have to be there. And also, I've had the mick taken out of me for years because I'm Cornish and I don't surf. So I went, right, what can I casually drop into a conversation? What do you do? I skydive. You know? And I went, okay, so perhaps I'm just trying to get back a little bit like that, kind of like you're doing a cool thing. Okay, that's the old guy talking there, all right? But also there is so many parallels and so many processes to business and learning something new. So I've been studying, I've been watching YouTube many YouTube videos. I occasionally watch the ones that I shouldn't really watch about the things that have gone wrong. You've got to watch those ones. And a lot of it's going to be videoed and documented about kind of the journey and the story and tips that I can pass on. I'm going to put it across social platforms. And it's really, I'm not a very conservative coach. Meaning I've got to do something that's a little bit different. We talked about it prior before we started this about there's a very noisy market out there.
Yeah.
If you want to promote a product or a service, you've got to get people's attention. And this just fits with my personality, it just fits with what I'm doing. And who knows where it's going to go. But the idea is that I skydive around the world. But it started off with having to go, right, what do I need to do? I need to take my skydiving licence. I need to jump, I do a ground day's training at Perranporth.
Oh yeah.
I then have to go up to Bodmin and I do my jumps there. Then once I've got my course and I go through level 1 to 8, I have to then do another 35 consolidation jumps at Bodmin before I can then come back to Perranporth because it's a coastal. It's the only UK coastal drop zone. Right. And I grew up around that way. Okay, so it's kind of my life is. You notice how things go in cycles in our lives until we get those lessons. But I'm coming back there, and ideally, I want to be a Bond, I suppose, and land on the beach because you can land on the beach, and that would be quite. And then just casually take my parachute off, walk up to the watering hole, order a pint, and that, I mean that's kind of bizarre stuff. I know, but that's the little egotistical.
When you do your next Cornwall Channel video, that's where you're going to need to bring it in,
and it all comes out. But the point is doing something that is just so out of my comfort zone that when I come into coaching, people know that I come from a point that I have to lead from the front. Yeah,
you've lived it. You've lived it.
Yeah,
you're like you said, like lead by example. Prove that it can be done.
Yeah.
And you know follow.
Yeah, no, I'm not going to ask all my coaching clients. I would love to, ideally, somewhere down the line, when I've got my jumps up and get some of my coaching clients to do a tandem jump, not strapped to me, and I'll be the one filming. I mean, just the possibilities of getting people out of their comfort zone would be awesome. Some people love the idea of jumping out of a plane, and some people wouldn't do it if you paid them all the money in the world. But it's, just something different.
Awesome. That is cool. So how long will it take you till you can sort of jump on your own then? Because I think there's a thing where you've got to do so many tandem jumps and stuff.
Basically what happens is I do a day's ground training. If they feel that I've passed and I go through the levels, literally that's one day, and then the following day, weather permitting, is that I go up with 2 instructors.
Yeah.
And I actually jump out with the instructors, and they have there's like a big, huge, chunky piping on your jumpsuit that you wear. So they're holding onto your arm and your leg, and you do a couple of jumps. Your level 1s and 2s, and them holding onto you. Then the third one, only one instructor's holding onto you. And I think it's the fourth jump, nobody's holding onto you. If you get it all right, and you do the tracking where you go around, you do a forward roll. You have to do all your canopy checks and everything. So technically, I think the soonest is my fourth jump that I will be flying solo.
Right.
So it is very unnerving. I must admit, I've woken up a few mornings going, what am I doing?
Yeah.
What's going to go? But I have to push myself, and each process, I learn a little bit more about myself. So therefore, when I talk to you about my trainings, all the compounded kind of experiences that I'm building up, I brought from these few decades that I've been on the planet, I can bring it into my training, and I've got many experiences that I go, do you know what, Lewis? Let's try this. Or have you thought of implementing this? And it's from experience. I learn from experience. Perhaps I'll take up. What can I take up after that? Astronaut. I think I'm a bit old for that. I think I'm a bit astronaut as well.
Well, I don't know, but the way that Elon Musk's going, mate, it's not going to be that far.
I need to contact with Elon Musk now as well. Get a private seat next to him next time he goes up. But yeah, so there's many elements to it as well. But it is that transfer of skill. What I've learned, I can help other people and pass it on.
Brilliant. So that's a good link, really, because sort of what things through doing this have you found have been sort of the best pieces of advice or the best questions that you've asked people to get them to make these steps and to make them to push themselves and go out and get out of their comfort zone?
Understanding it's all a process.
Yeah.
Right. When I was working for myself a few years ago, and I've worked for myself for over 25 years now, some things have been okay, some things didn't turn out as I expected, but that's the learning curve. And one chap said to me, he was a financial forecaster, he said, how do you operate? And I went, well, with fluidity, meaning there was no structure to it whatsoever at all. And I always remember that phrase. And he started showing me spreadsheets, and my head started aching, and then I learned, right, I need to learn this stuff. I need to understand what my processes are. And it's breaking things down to tiny details. And I focus people on the next step that I talk about, which is, okay, what do I need to do? I have a conversation about skydiving. What I need to find out about what it costs to be skydiving. Okay, I need to budget that in. I need to work out where I can do it. It just so happens that it's very important. Okay, I need to go and meet the guys. I need to tell them what I'm doing. Okay, I need to formulate this in the business. So what do I need to do? I need to work with a media company. I need to get someone to help me with my training packages. I need to break every part down into a process, exactly the same as I do when I'm working with people. So okay, you want to increase your sales, right? Okay, where's your ideal customer? Where do you get them from now? How do you look after your existing customer? Actually, are you kind of a scattergun approach, or are you a sniper rifle? You name specifically on, because a lot of people in business think, oh, that's my whole market. It's not, and I know you can't see this on there, but you specifically need to focus on what is good for my business and what are my clients. Okay, how do we get to that? Where do those people hang out? Who do they associate with? Who do I know that's connected to their networks? Every part of this is just a little piece of the jigsaw that eventually gets us to where we want to go.
Yeah.
And it's understanding, pardon me, that a lot of people have attachments to the outcomes. The outcome is going to be what the outcome is going to be.
Yeah.
You could try and sell and promote your wares and services to someone, and the timing could not be right.
Yeah.
When the timing's right, everything lines up, a sale's made or a connection's made. So yeah, it's really process. And for me, that historically has operated with fluidity, to use that word process, which can seem to be very sterile, but we all have process. If I asked you, which shoes do you put on first in the morning?
Slippers.
After you take this, I presume you don't walk around in slippers the whole time. Right?
Yeah.
All right, for me, I always put my left shoe on first.
Oh, right, yeah.
Right, that's my process. I don't know why I do it. Okay, I've got a process. Everything we do is a process, but we may not recognise it as that. Okay, processes are just habits.
Yeah.
Okay, so therefore, it's how can I get someone to change their habit? And sometimes you're asking someone to change their habit, well, actually, you've got to replace it with a better one. Process.
Yeah, I found that. I found with back along, I found myself, I was just sat in the house all the time, and I couldn't leave. There was no way of me leaving the house, and we just sort of sat there, and my partner was watching watching crap on telly. I wouldn't really, and I found myself just playing games on my phone, and I didn't really realise what I was doing, but I was sitting there for 2 or 3 hours playing these stupid games because I didn't feel like I had any other option. So when I sort of said I'm going to start this, I was like, I can stop that and channel it into something that's
Okay,
productive.
well, what was it? Yeah, exactly. What was it that made you make that decision?
Wanting to just listening to people like Gary Vee.
Yeah, awesome.
Just it was just knowing that. Well, hold on, what I'm doing here is not productive. I'm sitting here anyway. I might as well try and do something that I can do, and that's I just thought I've got to try and do something, and I wanted something that I actually wanted to do. I didn't really want to be playing those games. I just felt like I was just like I'm sitting there and need to pass the time.
Exactly, and you kind of fitted into. There's a phrase I used, and I did a little video back a little while ago that when I was just playing around with trying to get presentable on video, and I'm very admirable to people that do video and filming. It's a real art. Is that I said, is today's action, your future self is relying on today's version of you to do good stuff, however you wrap it up. Okay, would your future self be happy with your actions right now?
Yeah.
And if everyone stopped and put a magnifying glass on their life and put the spotlight on them and go, is this productive for me? Am I just, frankly, wasting my life? Am I just wasting my time? And because a lot of people, their sense of purpose and direction is either being diluted or it's been beaten out of them, metaphorically. You can't do that. I'm one of the biggest fundamentals, and I remind my children of this, of success, however you measure success, is associations and influences. The people you hang around with, the crowd you hang out with. If you've constantly got people telling you can't do this, you can't do this, you can't do this. Now, it could be your parents, it could be your partner, it could be people you work with. At some point, it's like Chinese water torture, it will grind you down. And in the end, some people go, I just give up. I'm just going to play video games. I'm just going to do that stuff. And I feel for them because it's like the spirit's been kicked out of them. And we are human beings. And again, I learned this from Gary Vee. The miracle to be alive, for that biological thing to happen. I'm not going to go into great details because biology was not one of my best subjects in school, but I think we all know how babies are made. The fact is, for that miracle to happen and then not to realise your full potential, to me, is a waste. But equally, having put that statement out there, I know darn well that I've had periods in my lives where I just existed. I was younger, going out partying, doing all these things and going from weekend to weekend. Cool, still was really worked hard in the week, but then I'd come out of the weekend going, God, how much better do I feel about myself? Not at all. I'm just doing what everyone else was doing. And that's what it is. I think the decision comes when it's like you turn around and you go in the opposite direction of where everyone's coming towards you, and you go, I want to go over here. To me, there's a phrase I heard years ago, is if you can zig whilst everyone else is zagging, that's pretty cool. You're kind of, because most of the people are doing that because it's easy. Anything that's worth anything is hard. And excuse me, people, it's bloody hard. It just really is. But that's where that's the real test is. That's what's testing your metal. Because life isn't going to give it to you if it's easy. Because by default, everyone will be living that utopian kind of cool life. And that's not how it is it?
No.
I can guarantee anyone that's worth it, and I've pinched this from Gary Vee, that there is nobody, without exception, that has got to where they've got to without hard work, without determination, without sacrifice, without hurt, without mistakes, without loss, without something happening. And we just see the shiny version of them. We see the overnight success. It's that old adage, isn't it? It takes 20 years to become an overnight success. But it's that ability to want to keep going. I could have given up a couple of years ago and, do you know what, I'm just going to, I tried this. But no, there was something within me that went, right, my back's against the wall, my personal circumstances have changed, I was in a flat, the kids stayed with me the first night, and it was just I'd gone from a family existence of what I thought my life was going to be to starting again. At my age, I went, hang on a minute, right, well, let's be honest with myself, I'm really honest. And then you have those moments and you sit there in tears and you sit there like, I can't believe this, and you feel you've let people down, you're disappointed with yourself, and then you do cultivate the effort attitude. I'm trying not to swear on here, okay?
You can swear.
Alright, you shouldn't say that to me, I'll just be so much bleeping going on, right? Then you do, and you just kind of go, fuck it. I need to look at every aspect of my life, and then it goes from being frightening to really liberating, really liberating, and that's what I pass on to people I work with, and that comes from experience, and you can't fake that has to be learnt. And that's the advantage of losing your hair and getting older.
I mean, it's funny, like you said, that, when you can get to that point where you feel like you're giving up. I mean, back sort of early 20s, I got a job, and I've always wanted to run my own business. And I sort of,
good man.
And I've always, and at this point, I was like, you kind of I always had that sort of thing. People say, you're never going to be able to run your own business, or all this sort of thing. So I thought, okay, I'll go and get this job. They said to me, you can work, we'll train you up, be a manager, you can look around, you can do a bit of everything. I was like, ideal. I sort of gave up on that, and I put all my energy into working for them and doing it. 2 years down the line, I get fired because and then I was like, shit, this is the trap door has opened, and then it's just like that, and for a good,
which happens to a lot of people.
Yeah, exactly. And it took me 12, 18 months to get myself a little bit back on my feet, like with a job and a bit of money behind myself, and then I don't know, by that time, and then I realised that I was having a baby, so I was like, oh Christ. But actually, having my son has actually given me some more purpose, so I think that's actually like, doubled down and snapping me out of it almost, and I'm pleased with that. And I've also realised that...
That's a good phrase, double down.
Yeah, and it's also made me realise that no matter how much, if you could still work really hard and for it to all fall away, but it doesn't mean that you can't try again.
Because you've done it as well. That's the whole point, and you've kind of summarised where I'd got to a couple of years ago, because everything I thought I built up and was there, and it's start from scratch, and it is quite liberating. It is quite, and when you know that people are watching, and when you start then, as you go down this path, and okay, it's probably a couple of decades between us, but the point being is I'm just a little bit further down the road than you, in that sense of, I've had some people private messaging me and sending me things going, really like that thing you popped out on that social platform the other day, it's really encouraging, and stuff that I'm just doing because I want to share the lessons, to know that's had an impact on people's lives. That's why we're here. That's what we're about. To me, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, it is about. I think I've always sort of thought that it's all about trying to reach your potential and do what you can actually try. Do what you were born to do, almost. Like.
And there's exactly. But it's trying to find that out, because people go, I'm more interested in why someone does what they do than what outcome do you want to achieve? It's why are you doing it? Are you happy there? And I understand, and it's I understand the practicalities of life, and I'm realistic, but I'm also, let's stretch your potential, let's give it a go. If you stretch yourself 1 week, then another week, then another week, you stretch yourself 52 times over a year. Okay, alright, I have a couple of weeks off for holidays, alright, but the point being is, you look back, and I think it was the late Steve Jobs that talked about the stepping stones of life. When you look back over your shoulder and you go, oh my word, I am being polite here. That conversation, that thing, that time when I was hurting, that horrible moment, when I told all my friends I was really cool, but as soon as I closed the door, I was in tears and crying, and I was looking at other people's lives on social media and thinking they're having a wonderful life, and my life's really, really shit. But actually, all these moments and everything, and then you pick yourself up, and I understand that some people don't, and I understand that people can put, don't get me wrong, I've had very dark moments, and I've had friends that have had dark moments that are no longer here because they stepped over that line. So I'm very realistic about, it takes a combination of your support network, where you are in life, the different influences you've got in life, and I come back to that as well, because you never know when you can throw a comment in and it really helps that person that one time. Really, and to me, you can't put a price on that. No, you can't put a price on that at all. But trying to find your way, it's really confusing.
Yeah, it is. I think that's probably the hardest bit, is finding what you, because there's opportunities that come your way or whatever, and you kind of just think, oh yeah, I'll take that because it's there. And
because it's the easy thing sometimes.
It's there, and depending on where you are, like I think when you're sort of maybe 18, leaving school, whatever, it probably is a good idea to go.
I'm just trying to remember back to that, because it's a very, very long time ago. Okay, but that's the whole point. Okay, is that you don't. I mean, there's another whole. We could do a series of all my working life up to this point. But I know within every part of my being that what's happened to me over the last couple of years was meant to happen, however I reframe it or however I process it. But now I'm sharing my gift, for want of a better. And I don't mean that in a kind of putting myself on a pedestal way, but that ability of all my learned lessons and that package to bring to people, to have a positive ripple effect, because I just want to keep that positive ripple effect going out and going out and going out and going out. And I don't care if I don't like do you like Marmite?
No.
I can't stand it. Right, no. Brilliant. So it's that whole thing of Marmite. Okay, I know that some people will find me a bit direct, and this is the polite version on here, very pokey, but it may not fit for other people. Okay, and that's okay, because it's not for everyone, and it's understanding that you don't have to please everyone. You don't have to offend people, but understand that, you know, if I've got a red car to sell, I'm not going to sell it to someone that's looking for a blue car.
No,
because they want a blue car. Okay, and I accept that. I'm not going to try and cover it up and make it look a blue car. I'm not going to try and get upset because they want a blue car, because I've got a red car. That's just how it is, and it's as black and white as that. I should have said black and white cars actually. But the point being is, it's you don't know at what point that's going to happen. You don't know what things you're going to try. You don't know what things you're going to do, and it could be very fortuitous. It's a sliding doors moment, isn't it?
Yeah.
Something can happen. You go, wow, if I'd gone right or if I'd gone left.
Yeah.
But it depends whether your mindset is and you're open to possibilities. There's a way I filter things now. I go, is it a distraction or is it an opportunity?
Oh, that's a good way of putting it. I like that.
You know, because we can get all magpie mode, can't we? It's shiny, it's great,
Yeah.
you know. And as Lewis is sat here with the light shining off my bald head, okay. So, is it a distraction? Is it taking me away from where I want to go? I'll investigate and I'll have a look. But if it's taking up too much of time, it's taking me off my course. And it's like the classic thing, isn't it? Kind of setting sail. The winds will blow you off, and you need to tack and get back on course and keep checking your course. And that's the other thing as well. People don't measure where they're going.
Yeah.
Okay, you need to look, because I got lost coming to meet you tonight because I thought I knew where I was going. Okay, but it took sat nav to put me back on course.
Yeah.
So we need to know where we're going anyway. Over to you.
It's wow. To be honest, I couldn't think it. You've probably come doing. I mean, it's really interesting because the sort of week I've had, and we talked about it before, but like I'm having to sell my house. Me and my partner are splitting up, and like without me starting up this podcast and doing what I'm doing, like I wouldn't have met you. And it's funny
Exactly.
how like the way that you operate and what you're saying is actually, you know, it's resonating with me. Particularly like at this time in my life.
Good. So even if the listeners don't get any from it, Steve, we're
Exactly.
great. There you go. Sorry, listeners, this isn't for you. This is all about helping Lewis.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, and what's quite interesting is that we sat down next to. It was in a networking event, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And it was actually, I think it was previously organised, I think, by Brock, I believe, that you've had on here to do with Cornwall Partnerships, and Shane does some stuff with Cornwall Channel from Shane, and I think it's Fonetta, and also Big Box. I can't think what the other one's
Fonetta and
called.
Big Box, yeah.
Right, okay, I don't know Big Box. I've just seen their branding.
I've done a podcast with them last week, so you can.
Oh, right, brilliant. There you go.
Yeah.
And it was about, and I called you Steve, didn't I?
You
and
did.
I remember Steve,
Right.
and you said in the messaging, you went, actually, it's Lewis. So I started chuckling, okay?
Yeah.
And I'm supposed to remember personal people's details. But the point is, I remember you sat down next to me going, that's a guy that's taken an idea, and yeah, all right, a little bit of self-promotion, but cool, let's get some content out. Let's pass a tip on that someone hopefully can implement something now. And when you want to follow your dreams, I'm all for that. And people say dreams, be a little bit dreamy and fluffy. We've all got dreams and aspirations, but we have them suppressed because we're told you need to buckle down and get a job and pay the bills, and wow, that suppresses human spirit to me. That does.
Yeah.
So yeah, again, you know, if you've got anything from this, it's the case that we were supposed to have a conversation at some
Yeah,
point.
that's right.
And me being proactive, I contacted you, didn't I? I was like, right, okay, come on, let's do this.
Yeah, and I really appreciate that. I mean, I had Mike on from Big Box Advertising last week, and he contacted me, so he was the first person to actually ask me on, but literally, like, 2 days later, you was the one to contact me. You just
so I
missed
wasn't in
out.
the first.
You weren't the first, but
I'm not competitive at all, am I, in the slightest as
But
well?
it was close,
well done,
you know.
Mike, well done,
Right.
Mike, okay, you're right.
but it was
Yeah, but
you know, it's
how does that
amazing.
feel to be on the
amazing.
receiving end of that then?
amazing.
I mean, yeah, don't get us wrong, we're business owners, we're service providers, so we essentially want to get word out, but we've seen a mechanism of how it can work for both.
Yeah.
My approach is, in life, if everyone in the equation can win, everyone goes away from the negotiating table, however we're going to frame it, happy. If someone goes away discontented, at some point that relationship will break down.
Yeah.
And if you want long-term relationships with people, personal, business, community, whatever, education, whatever, everyone's got to win in that equation.
Yeah. That's right.
And most people don't do that.
No.
Most people go, what can I get from that? Whoa, what can I give to the situation?
That's right.
And some people say, I had a phrase years ago, people say, there's lots of nasty people around. Mine, no, there isn't. There's only a few of them, but they just move around really quick. It makes you think there's a lot out there.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, that's exactly why I like to do the podcast for free, because I feel like, because I'm giving. If I was to charge you for coming on the podcast,
This is the bit where I gulp people because he was going to charge me, so he's clearly booking the holiday off what he's charged me.
I have thought about it in the past. I was thinking no.
That is cool.
But because at the end of the day, I'm facilitating a conversation, but you're providing me with content to put out on my platform, but in return you're getting a voice to speak to my audience. Exactly, and that's why I do it. And if I felt like I was charging for people to come on, I think I'd alienate a lot of people. I think I would, especially like if I want to speak to public authorities and stuff like that.
Definitely.
I think I don't want to have to charge them and then charge people that are trying to promote their business. Like it doesn't work like that.
When I said about it's short-term sacrifice, you've got to look long-term gain.
That's right.
What can I give to the community? How can I do? How can I get me out there? And it'll be now. I'll speak to Phil, really good friend of mine and colleague of mine who also does podcasts. So I'll be putting you in contact with him as well. And what I will do is I will copy you guys into an email. I love connecting people, as people have connected me as well. So you can then have a conversation with him because he does regular podcasts, has some really cool guests on there, as you've clearly got now with having Mike on and myself and Brock, and I don't know anyone else. Mike, I'm really disappointed actually, you beat me to it. Really happy for you, but anyway.
So we'll go down in the kind of history.
Yeah, it will.
Wicked. So
hang on, I'm gonna come on again. I'm gonna be the first one to bring you a gift. Has anyone brought you a gift? I should have brought you a gift. Oh no.
Although I have had a drink bought for me.
Oh, I didn't do that this time.
Yeah, but then buying a drink is a bit different.
Okay, alright.
But that's alright.
You should make that, actually, that's what you should do. You should get your guests to bring you a gift, and you can blame me for suggesting that, because I clearly didn't. I brought bad timekeeping to this one.
Yeah, but an awesome conversation, so I'm more than happy, so it's great.
Okay, good.
I'd like to just sort of, I think we've learned a lot about you and what you do and everything. I was thinking about trying to talk about sort of how you operate as a business then. So like what sort of, I don't know, how do you charge, how do you work out your pricing, how do you sort of do people tend to approach you more? Do you have to feel like you go out and...
I basically put myself out on a network. I network extensively quite a lot. I get people to it depends. Again, this is what I'm formalising packages, going through my one-to-one, my team coaching, my kind of 3 days, the gender equality. I want to, if I'm honest, I want to go into a lot of corporations with this.
Yeah.
And it's a 3-day course, and I want to work with the ladies, and I want to work with the gents, and I want to bring them together, and I want to elicit information, because we need to look at circumstances. It's easy to beat people and go, they don't understand, whatever it's, but we need to come around the other side and look from the other point of view in a non-judgmental way and realise the issue. So these can be day courses. I do bespoke packages, but basically I get out there and I have conversations. I meet people. People can come to me. They can follow me on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. Check me out on LinkedIn. Soon I'll be putting up a vlog as well. I want to do some comedy videos and just something just to lighten up the day. I want to do some like Martin Minutes or Martin's Moaning or a little bit of a spoof. Take a little bit of just a little bit of kind of, you know, it's like I'm playing with Instagram at the moment. I've not got many followers, but I realise that it's a really good visual platform to use.
Definitely. What's your handle?
It is Over the Edge UK.
Oh yeah.
So it's over.the.edge.uk.
Yeah.
And you have to spell it out because there's lots of E's in there.
Yeah.
.uk.
.uk. There we go. I'll put that in.
I should have just said Over the Edge UK, all separated words but with the dots.
Yeah.
There you go.
It's alright. It'll be in the description anyway.
It'll be there as well. But yeah, I go out and I just have unconditional conversations. Okay, and I can sit down with you as a business owner and just find out a little bit about your business, say, okay, this is what I do, these are the results I've had, see what other people have said about me. Now, it took a lot to get that traction and momentum going, like anything, and this is where most people give up, because you're putting out a lot, you're putting out a lot. What happens? Keep going, be consistent, be true to yourself, and then someone shows faith in you. And you have one client, and then you get another one, and then you get another one. And I then normally tend to say to people, look, I can work with you for a day, but I need to effectively work with you as a business for 6 months, because you cannot implement change overnight.
No.
I come in 1 day a week, I come in half a day a week, I come in fortnightly, whatever, I come in a team meetings, trainings, but also find out what makes your business tick. And again, I need to get results quick, because when you're investing in people, sometimes you don't realise it's further down the road. The best thing I can do, and this may sound wrong, business people, they might gasp at this, is to be sacked by my clients, because that means that I've brought value.
Yeah.
We don't need you anymore. Yeah, we don't need you anymore. Damn it, I've done such a good job.
Yeah, I've done it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I go out and I network, and I purely have conversations. The problem that a lot of people do is they network, they go to get rather than give, and they talk all about them the whole time. So I'd rather stand up and do like a 60-second or a minute of, I tried this with a client, chuck this into your business. Scheduling it could be completing certain tasks, focusing on the next step. Could be various things. Who's your best client? Go and speak to your best client. Find out what they like about you. Find out what they don't like about you, and then improve those things you don't like. But then say, okay, well, you're happy with my services, so there's a couple of people in your network that I can speak to. Most people don't ask for referrals. Most people are afraid. If you've got a happy customer, just do everything possible to look after that customer. Because if you don't, someone else might come along and poach them.
Yeah.
And it doesn't take much, but listen to your customers as well. Hopefully that gives you a little bit of an answer. I have the pricing conversation with businesses, and there's some businesses, I must admit, there's some that probably startups that might not be able to afford me, but I'll always give anyone some advice.
Yeah.
And I'm like that, because I'd rather try this out, and then, because it comes down to development. Sometimes businesses have development training within their budgets, and sometimes they don't, but I know there's certain funding available for certain businesses. But I don't have a blanket approach. I will speak to each business on the merits of that business as well.
Yeah. That's great. That's brilliant. There's a lot of things.
Exhausted.
It's just.
It's like a roller coaster ride having a conversation with me.
Well, a little bit, but it just seems to be just so much all the time.
It's what my kids say sometimes.
Yeah. It's fine. It's cool. We're getting near an hour now, and
wow,
so I like to try and keep it around the hour. I'm not scared if it's short. I'm not scared if it's longer, but while we're here,
what we need to do is at some point, I think, because I've got my jump coming up in beginning of June. Yeah. So what I would probably do is it'd be good to catch up with you after I've done the jump.
Yeah, definitely.
And after I've done some stuff, and I can perhaps share some footage with you as well. You can perhaps post up as well.
Yeah.
And kind of just do a carry on, because there's so many little golden nuggets that I want to be able to pass on to people. Obviously, clearly I want eyes on my business, but it's more about what I've learned as a Cornish person is I just want to get to as many people as possible in the county, because by the very nature of where we are, it can be quite insular.
Yeah.
And so therefore I've taken influences from people nationally, globally, all over the place, and things that I think are really, really relevant to us that live in this technological age in this 21st century. And a lot of people that don't live in Cornwall think that everyone lives in Cornwall has this really cool lifestyle.
Yeah.
It's all idealistic, okay? But I'll challenge most people to say, actually, how many of us are actually living that really cool lifestyle? But I want to help as many people take a walk by the beach, not worry when you're going to get snowed in, and kind of being happy, I'm all about improving people's skills. So therefore, if you're in a situation you're not really valued, you've got a skill set or experience that you can take to another business, you can start up your own thing, you can volunteer for community projects, you can make a switch because you've got the confidence to know you've got the skill set to do anything. And it seems almost unthinkable for some people, but it starts with one step.
That's right. Take that first step. Go over the edge.
You've got it. Okay. Well, it is until you're kind of pushed. So let me see what happens.
Okay, I think, like you said, we should definitely catch up after skydive.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
And
just to see if I made it.
Hopefully you're able to come back. But definitely.
Just hopefully it won't be an A&E. All right.
Well, yeah. That'd be a good podcast to be fair. Things are quite to plan.
Yeah, just let me enjoy things. That's brilliant.
Okay, brilliant. Thank you, Martin. Just a quick reminder before we end. Thank you so much for being on the podcast, by the way. Just a quick reminder for everyone listening, where can they find you?
Right, you're very, very welcome, Lewis, as well. Okay, what I would say is on Facebook is, and I'm very open and transparent, is my personal Facebook. This is a picture of me trying to look cool, my two kids, Martin Miller from True. By all means, contact me on there. My Facebook business page is it's facebook.com/ I think it's Over the Edge at OTE UK.
Right.
I'm on Twitter as Over the Edge UK. I'm on LinkedIn, Instagram, Over the Edge UK with a dot separating the words.
That's the one.
And what other platforms have we got?
YouTube?
Haven't started that yet. Had a conversation about that. Actually, you can go to my website. It's a holding page at the moment, but it's overtheedgecoaching.co.uk. It's going to be going live soon. And again, you can go on there and go on the mailings to basically be contacted when it's up and running. And then I'm going to start to put some content on YouTube. So there'll be a lot of my whole focus is getting as much content out this year as possible to just help people so they got a library of resources. And it's real. It's practical stuff. It's really practical stuff. Yeah, if you drive along in a car, don't ever step out in front of me in front of a car because I've probably got no issue. I don't want to get my attention. But yeah, on those platforms. And again, my phone number, it's on my sites. By all means, give us a call.
Yeah, excellent. Obviously, all those will be in the description, and so you can check it out. I just wanted the people that were listening only just to be able to hear it. So thank you, Martin, once again, and
it's a pleasure.
I can't wait to catch up with you again.
Brilliant, you star. Thanks very much for the time, Lewis.
No worries. Cheers, mate.
All the
best. Cheers and goal. I hope you enjoyed the podcast this week. I really, really did. I thought Martin was brilliant. I can't wait to speak to him again after his skydive. I think that's going to be wicked. It's going to be another great podcast, hopefully. There's an awful lot going on with me at the moment. I've got the vlog up. My Instagram I'm putting up stuff on Instagram all the time, trying to feature a specific place. If there's anywhere, by the way, that you would like me to feature in my Instagram posts, then a place that you might want to find out a little bit more about, then let me know and I can sort that, and I'll try and get down there and get some pictures. All the pictures going up are all pictures that I've taken. I'm not the best photographer in the world, but I'm practicing and trying my best to provide some really good quality content for everyone that's following. So Martin, by the way, before I forget, you can find him on LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. Website will be up soon. It's Over the Edge, which I forgot to mention in the introduction, but that's all good. It's mentioned a few times in the thing through the show. So yeah, overtheedge.uk. What was it? over.the.edge.uk. That's the one. We got there. And the music at the beginning was by the band Citations, and their track was called El Diablo. You can find them on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and Spotify. I'd love to, by the way, talking about Spotify, I want to be able to try and produce all the music that I'm getting. I want to try and put into a playlist. So when you're featured as a musician on the podcast, I want to put all those tracks into a playlist so that people can just go Kernowcast and then go on Spotify and then find all the music that's been played on the show. That's an idea of mine. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to do it just yet, but if you're featured on the show and your tracks are on Spotify, let me know, and then I can start trying to build up this playlist. So that'd be cool. Quick thanks to the Royal Inn in Parr. Another quick thanks to our sponsor Kernow Valeting and Detailing. Contact me if you want to be advertising. If you want to advertise on the show, it's like £1 clip through the show, and £2 if you want a audio ad at the beginning. So yeah, give me some feedback on what I'm doing, review, subscribe, do all that sort of stuff. I really appreciate you listening, and I genuinely do. Every time I get another download on each episode, I'm just like, yes. So yeah, I'm really, really grateful, and hopefully I can keep this going and provide you with an awesome listening and watching experience from great people from around Cornwall. So yeah, I really appreciate it. Take care out there. Hopefully the snow's done for now, but yeah, all the best. Cheers, my dears.